At one point, Carlos Lehder actually went around you and cut you out.
True.
Well, why do you think he did that? After you guys had made so much money together.
Greed.
Greed.
Yes. Isn't that why Brutus betrayed Caesar in the steps of the Roman Senate? And he said, "You too, Brutus." It goes back to before the Bible even. And anybody who plays these games of power, all right, and doesn't understand the evils of it in the greed behind it that it's bestowed upon is a fool.
Well, at the time that Carlos Lehder cut you out, you were still sitting on, I assume, tens of millions of dollars?
Correct.
So at that point, why did you decide to keep going as opposed to saying, okay, I have enough money sitting here to last the rest of my life very comfortably. Let me just get out while I'm ahead.
Well, there it comes down to the simple fact that in the beginning you play the game for money, and then because does anybody really know thyself completely? And people that play games like that eventually find out who they really are. And what I was a thrill junkie, and I was gambling my life, and I got off on it. And the money was just a tool to play the game. And there was no getting out, there was no getting in. I was in for a penny, in for a pound, and I love the thrill of it. And it was my opiate. And when I didn't play the game, I was disenchanted.
Well, you ultimately got arrested in 1994 with around 1,800 pounds of cocaine?
Yes.
So at one point, you testified against Carlos Lehder?
That's true.
When did that happen? Did that happen before or after that arrest?
Well, I had no intention of testifying against him. He had written a letter to George Bush and was going to, inform on the cartel and all the bank accounts and all our activities and all the processing plants. And then I decided to go ahead with it because it was under the old law, and even in 20 years, I would have done 5 or 7 years, and it didn't matter. I mean, I wasn't afraid of prison, and I was still young, and I told him in the beginning, no, I wouldn't do it. And then when it came out in the Herald, I agreed to do it.
Okay. Now, before that, you had a bunch of money in the Panama bank that they ended up seizing?
In the Bank of Nova Scotia in Panama. And Noriega nationalized the banks and took all the money.
How much money did you have in your
I
bank
had
account at the time?
68 million in there.
That's insane. How did you feel at the moment that you found out you can't get into your bank account?
It's like the day your wife tells you she's going to leave you. And you're going to have to pay for the kids for the rest of your life.
And there was nothing you could do to get that 68 million out?
No.
Did you have money? I mean, why did you?
Well, I mean, if I had money or I did have money, I mean, I'm not going to exactly draw you a treasure map and with X's on it, okay?
Okay.
But I think it's time to, move past that. I mean, maybe I had money, maybe I didn't. I think that, as Shakespeare said, the best answers in the world are the ones left unanswered.
Okay. Now, why did you put $68 million into the Bank of Panama?
Because it was all gained from velocity, and I couldn't exactly put it in the Bank of America, and at that time the Bank of Panama was a good place to put Bank of Nova Scotia, and everybody else was putting it there, and I had intended to transfer it eventually to Zurich, and wash it, as people say, and And that's why. I wasn't the only one who did it. It's called laundering. You know, I mean, you can go to Wall Street and ask them the same question right now today, right?
Yeah. So essentially, Panama was where all the drug dealers in the world were dumping their money.
Yes, Noriega was in compliance with accommodating all of us.
Okay. Now, at the time that you testified against Carlos Lehder, did you fear any sort of retaliation from the Medellin cartel or Pablo Escobar?
I had grown beyond fear. Right. What I did in the beginning, when I was a kid and I was doing it in Mexico and everywhere, I had a fear, but I've grown beyond fear. And as far as retaliation, I mean, I had, an agreement and from the higher ups in that if I wasn't in compliance with their wishes, I don't think I'd be sitting here today. I mean, you can dwell on this till hell freezes over and then melt the ice. And, the reality of it is that I'm sitting here in Sacramento talking to you, and it's been since 1987 that this happened. And, I mean, if they want to shoot me tonight, the hell with it. I just hope they have a bar in heaven that serves scotch.
I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of the idea of Drake, so no disrespect against Drake.
What do you mean by the idea of Drake? What does that mean?
Meaning that if he has a ghostwriter, he's an idea. He's not, meaning that it's a perception created that he's not really writing the lyrics, and it's just like here, let's make this in the factory and put it out.
I'm just on top of my game right now, Vlad, and I'm just getting blessed. I'm booked 4 or 5 times a week, 60, 75K a show, man. I'm winning right now, man, and I'm just steady trying to increase my hustle.